What if everything you were taught in school, everything written in the history books, everything you thought you knew was nothing but a lie? What if human history is far darker, far deeper, and filled with secrets far more unimaginable than we've ever been told? Across the globe, archaeologists and researchers have stumbled upon discoveries that mainstream science chooses to ignore, findings that shake the very foundations of history itself. And each one of these discoveries screams the same question. Were we truly alone thousands of years ago? Or did an advanced extraterrestrial civilization lend us a helping hand? Get ready, because after this video, you'll never look at the past the same way again. Buried deep within the dusty pages of history are secrets now rising to the surface. By the way, if you enjoy this kind of content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like the video. Your support means a lot to me. Welcome to my channel, Discovery of the Mystery, where we will uncover the secrets. Our journey takes us to the ancient lands of South America, to Peru. In the quiet halls of the Lima Metropolitan Museum, hidden away in a secluded corner, lies an object so baffling that experts have named it the Galactic Disk. Some believe it could be the strongest proof of our ancient connection to the stars. This circular artifact is far more than just a stone. When you look closely at the carvings, you notice an eerie resemblance to our very own Milky Way galaxy. Spiral arms, a dense center, and a symmetry that feels almost intentional. The kind of precision you'd expect from a civilization with an intimate knowledge of the cosmos. But here's the mind-bending part. This disk is thousands of years old. It comes from a time long before telescopes, satellites, or even the concept of galaxies had been imagined. So how is this possible? How could people from an age when even the planets were unknown carve such a flawless representation of the Milky Way into stone? Some researchers claim the disk was crafted by an ancient Indian civilization, pointing to Sanskrit texts that describe cosmic structures with poetic, yet surprisingly accurate detail. Others insist it's not just a depiction of a galaxy, but something much greater. What makes the disk truly mysterious is the precision of its craftsmanship. The carvings aren't random. They show deliberate alignment, perfect curves, and layered symmetry, suggesting tools far beyond what any known ancient culture should have had. Tools we associate with advanced technology. No government has ever officially analyzed the disk, but independent researchers from all over the world flock to Peru just to see it with their own eyes. If this really is a cosmic model, then we have to ask, who gave these people knowledge of the universe they couldn't possibly see with the naked eye? Could it be the last remnant of a lost civilization that either reached far beyond Earth or was guided by those who came from the stars? Now let's turn to a completely different land, Siberia. In the remote and wild landscapes of the Denisovan cave, archaeologists uncovered a discovery that rewrites everything we thought we knew about prehistoric humans. A 400,000-year-old bracelet. Perfectly crafted, smooth, symmetrical, and made of chlorite, a stone not even native to the area. Even more astonishing, it contained a carefully drilled hole, likely meant for a strap or cord. But here's the real shocker. The hole looked as though it had been made with a high-speed drill. Mainstream science admits there was no way such technology should have existed at that time. So how is this possible? This bracelet belonged to the Denisovans, a mysterious human species only discovered in recent decades. For a long time, scientists believed these ancient people were primitive nomads. But this artifact paints a very different picture. Think about it. This society not only crafted jewelry from foreign minerals, but polished and shaped it with almost machine-like precision. How could a people who lived 400,000 years ago achieve this? Who were they really? Were the Denisovans just an evolutionary branch? or the last keepers of forgotten technology. This wasn't just a random find either. The bracelet was discovered next to a finger bone thought to belong to a young girl. If the Denisovans were able to create this masterpiece 400,000 years ago, then what else might we have completely overlooked? The mysteries of the past aren't limited to Siberia. In Bulgaria's Rhodope Mountains, a man claimed that after experiencing a vivid dream, he dug into the earth and unearthed something straight out of a science fiction movie. A skull unlike anything ever seen. Small, pale, weighing just 250 grams and containing 6 strange chambers. This skull was said to belong to a being not of this world. But what happened next? Before international experts could examine it, the skull vanished without a trace. Was it stolen, hidden, or seized? Only a handful of photographs remain, along with countless unanswered questions. Now we move to another mystery from Russia. In a site known as the Atlantis of Russia, which emerges only for a few weeks each year when the waters recede, archaeologists discovered something they nicknamed the ancient iPhone. Of course, it wasn't a real piece of technology, but a 2,000-year-old jet black belt buckle decorated with mother-of-pearl, turquoise, and agate. Remarkably, it was the same size and shape as a modern smartphone. The design was elegant, and the craftsmanship far ahead of its time. Was it just a coincidence, or could it be evidence that ancient people glimpsed or even foresaw the future? Another strange discovery comes from Bosnia. There, researchers uncovered a massive, perfectly spherical iron ball, half buried in the ground. Nicknamed the work of a lost civilization, it was championed by researcher Samir Osmanagic, often called the Bosnian Indiana Jones. He believed it proved the existence of an ancient culture capable of forging and shaping iron long before the Iron Age. Mainstream scientists insist it's a natural formation. But how could nature alone produce such symmetry in material composition? The question remains unanswered. And now we arrive at a mystery that forces us to rethink the limits of ancient medicine. Peru. In the desert sands, archaeologists found a skull that not only had an unusually elongated shape, but also contained a metal implant fused directly into the bone. The most shocking part? The bone tissue around the implant had fully healed, meaning the person lived long after the surgery. In other words, someone in the ancient world successfully performed a brain operation using metal, and the patient survived. But how could such a procedure, even risky today, have been achieved thousands of years ago? Who were these ancient surgeons? And where did they learn this advanced medical knowledge? All of these unanswered questions remind us of one thing. Our understanding of the past is still fragmentary. These discoveries suggest we may only be scratching the surface of humanity's forgotten history. And finally, we come to perhaps the most disturbing discovery. Once again in Peru, in the region famous for the massive Nazca lines that can only be seen from the sky, researchers uncovered mummified bodies unlike any human ever recorded. These beings had elongated skulls, no visible ears, and only 3 fingers on each hand and foot. Their bones were thin, and their rib cages were strangely rounded. Russian scientists examined one of these mummies. The results they announced were astonishing. Its DNA was similar to that of humans. It had 23 pairs of chromosomes, just like us, but its physical structure was entirely different. Russian scientist Konstantin Korotkov summarized it best. They look like humans, but they are not human. Mainstream science dismissed these mummies as either a hoax or human remains that had been deformed after death. But if it's merely a hoax, then why the heavy veil of secrecy? Or do these mummies represent something far older, far stranger, and far more unsettling than we're prepared to accept? So what is the common thread in all these discoveries? They all challenge everything we've been told about human history. The Galactic Disk, with its incredible craftsmanship, a 400,000-year-old bracelet polished with machine-like precision, skulls with metal implants, mummies that don't quite match the human species, and the so-called ancient iPhone. Individually, maybe each one could be explained away or ignored, but together they form a consistent pattern, one that contradicts the history we've been taught. A pattern that whispers of either a once highly advanced civilization that walked this earth, or the possibility that we were never truly alone. The truth is, when we look at these unanswered questions from antiquity, we realize just how little we actually know about our past. Who knows? Maybe one day humanity will uncover the answers that can finally illuminate the darkness of history. If this video made you question everything you thought you knew about history, please share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and stay tuned. By liking and commenting, you can help support my work. See you in the next video.